Thank you very much for coming. We are looking at, or kind of exploring a sequence to release the hamstrings. So focusing on the hamstrings. Obviously, invariably hips are involved and whole body, but more sort of postures focusing a little bit more releasing the hamstrings. So healthy hamstrings was my title for this week. Healthy, stretching the hamstrings, strengthening the hamstrings, invariably linked to the low back. If you have low back problems, I always find anyway when my back feels tight, my first sort of port of call is hamstring stretches. I think that can be the case for a lot of people. So it makes sense, doesn't it? There's a lot more sitting than we're kind of supposed to in theory, which leads to everything kind of tightening up. So a good stretch, and hopefully you'll feel it today. I always find that with hamstring stretches, you're also hobbling a bit on Monday after Monday. I was even a bit hobbling after Monday. Okay, so we're going to start with alternate nostril breathing, and then we'll kind of come into it, just to kind of to check in. So your right hand, first two fingers into the palm or resting here. So one is not better than the other. To be honest with you, I always did it this way. So this is Nasikagra Mudra. So this was how I was kind of taught. But when I went to India and they were doing Vishnu Mudra, it's an either or, but it really depends what you're comfortable with. So this is Vishnu Mudra or Nasikagra Mudra. I like this one really because I'm touching into the third eye, but whichever you're comfortable with. Just resting the other arm. So just be aware of kind of relaxing the shoulders, really kind of relaxing into your seat as well, but sitting up tall. So just right thumb, right nostril, drawing in as long, deeper breath as is comfortable. All the way to the top of the breath, covering the left nostril. You can pause for a moment, or you can go straight into your out breath. So I'll guide the first couple of rounds, but then when you go, kind of at your own pace. So all the way to the bottom of the breath, coming back in again through the right. Covering the right nostril, releasing the left and exhaling. So obviously you can go at your own pace already, but I'll just guide just for the next round. So bottom of the breath, breathing back in again through the left. Covering the left, releasing the right, exhale. So we're restoring balance to the left and the right sides, actually hemispheres of the brain. Breathing back in again through the right. Covering the right nostril, releasing the left and exhaling. So that's moving quite quickly, really, through the cycle. So come now into your own rhythm. So find your long inhalation. If you naturally want to pause, retentions are really healthy, a challenge to the respiratory system. So you can pause at the top of the breath. Likewise, you can pause at the bottom of the out breath. So this is where we're heading to really in pranayama, working with inhaled retentions and outheld retentions. Maybe work a count with your in and out breath, so you know where you're at and you can try to make them even. If you want to induce a kind of deeper level of calm, of relaxation, then have the out breath longer than the in breath. So it's up to you what you kind of want to work with. But just be aware of sitting up tall on the inhalation and kind of softening, let everything draw down to the earth with the out breath. Soften shoulders, arms, relax, knees, hips, relax. Follow the breath in. Maybe connect with the feel of the air. Maybe link into the sounds. There are lots of different ways to keep your mind focused. And we'll just kind of make this round that you're on the last round. So you're just getting there in your own time. So next time you come to exhale through the left nostril, then just release the hands, so releasing the mudra. Just connecting with your breath. So just take a couple of breaths. If you need to blow your nose, blow your nose. It's helping to kind of clear and keep the respiratory system kind of strong, but obviously clears the sinuses as well. So it is a good one to do just to keep everything balanced. Okay, and then when you're ready, just opening the eyes and coming back into the space. Okay, we're going to come into Yana Shirshasana. So I'm going to move back. So head towards knee pose. So legs outstretched. Okay, let's take the right foot in. So the foot is, or the heel is as close to the body as is comfortable. Flesh from the sit bone, so you really feel that connection. So obviously working into the hamstrings, the back of the extended leg, working into the hips and knees, really, with any restrictions through the other leg. So breathing the arms. Oh, that's it, breathing in, stretching up, and then folding forwards and just coming to where what is available really and is comfortable. So find that point of resistance. So you're not going beyond it. You know what I'm talking about, isn't it? It's that feeling, isn't it? It's that kind of edge beyond which is a little bit like overstretching or pushing. So find that point where you really feel the stretch at its deepest, but it still feels good. And then breathe into it. So hold that position. On the inhalation, think about lengthening the spine. And if you lengthen the spine, you'll feel that you're stretching into the hamstrings as well. So the two are kind of interconnected. And on the out breath, maybe if there's an invitation to go deeper, then soften into it a little bit more. If it feels like you're at just enough, then just hold that and just let the body relax into it. So we're just going to take a few breaths here. It's definitely one of my favorites for hamstring stretches because you're really kind of isolating each leg and you're really getting body weight into it and you can control how deep you're getting into it. So there's no kind of sense of forcing or going too deep. Feel the stretch in the spine as well. So I'm sure you're aware of stretch at the back of the body. Always a challenge to do these real isolated hamstring stretches at the beginning of class because you're only just starting to kind of warm up. So don't worry about how deep you're going into it. Just take one more breath and then we'll just ease slowly up. Sitting up. Okay, so we're going to come into Crown Chasana, which is heron pose. So you're just going to grab hold of the foot. That's it, good. And then we're going to extend the leg. Oh, I'm going to get my big foot in the... So directly in front of you, just so you haven't got my foot in the middle of your screen. So possibly straight. If the leg will straighten, then let it straighten. If that's a bit of too much of a challenge, just kind of get to where is available. So it might be a slight bend, or you can use a strap if you want to keep the leg straight and it feels quite hard to reach. So the leg is directly in front of you rather than out to the side. Otherwise, that way you're working into the hips more. So always directly in front for hamstrings. You've just got your drishti at your toes. Just going to take another couple of breaths here. Okay, and then we're going to take this leg over into Ardha Matsyendrasana. So you're just going to place this foot over, so you're on the sole of the foot. Come back round a little. That's it, sitting between the heels, between the heels. So you should feel the stretch in the outside of the hips, and you're going to turn towards the leg that's bent over. So you're just going to, that's it. Okay, so you can have one hand behind to help to keep the spine long. You can hook the elbow over. You can come to a bind if it's available. So you come through that gap and come into a bind, but see how that feels. Otherwise, you're sitting up nice and tall. That's it, gazes over the back shoulder. I'm just going to take a few breaths here. Okay, so just feel that release through the upper back, the stretch through the outer hips. Okay, and then coming slowly back to center, and we're going to do the same to the other side. So you're going to take your right leg out this time, left foot is in. Okay, flesh from the sit bones. Okay, and then breathing the arms up. So breathing in, arms up, lengthening, folding forward. So hands wherever's comfortable to have them. So exactly the same idea. Find that point of resistance. Just breathing into it. So breathing into the stretch. We're trying to release any holding in the body. So the idea when we're working with, hamstrings in particular, because they connect us to the sacral chakra, a sense of held emotions, past history, things that we're kind of holding on to that maybe we need to release. You know, maybe we don't need to hold on to these things anymore. So it's really a sense of letting go when we're working with a hamstring. So you can kind of just think about maybe what you're holding on to that you really could release, seeing if anything comes up. Obviously it works on a physical level as well, because that's how we experience things in our bodies. So just softening. When we're softening, when we're releasing, we're creating space. So just taking another breath or two here. And then we're just going to ease ourselves slowly up to sitting up. And we're going to come into Crown Chasana. So hopefully we'll make it all the way through this time. So taking hold of the foot. Straightening if you can, bend it a little if it feels more comfortable. I know it's quite a reach, isn't it, to find all the way to the foot. So you can, in theory, use a strap if you have one, or just a slight bend. You're still going to feel that into the hamstrings. The drishti is to your toes. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here. So just feel the stretch. So less into the spine than the forward fold, or you may still feel something going on. We're going to bring this now into Ardha Matsyendrasana. So it's going to come, the foot is going to come over that knee. So we're setting up on the other side. So again, you're feeling that stretch into the outer hip. So sitting up tall, so use the hand behind you. Hand on the knee, hook the elbow, work with the bind if it's available. Gaze is towards the back shoulder. So let the shoulders relax. You feel that stretch across the outer hip into the bottom. So you're turning towards the front leg. That's it. And just breathing. Okay, just notice the feeling of release across the upper back. And then you're guiding how deep you're going into the twist. And then just coming slowly back to center. That's it, good. Okay, so we're going to come onto all fours, but we're going to have the right leg out to the side. So directly out to the side, like this, and then you can feel that into the inner leg line straight away. Okay, so I'll come this way on. So exactly the same movement as we would do. So when you're taking an in-breath, you're kind of sticking the bottom out. That's the word, isn't it? Gazes forward, shoulders away from the ears. That will deepen that stretch through the inner thighs in particular. And then when you're breathing out, you're tucking everything under. So you've got a little bit more kind of movement around the hips and the pelvis when you draw under with that leg extended. So we'll do this a couple more times. So breathing in, gazes forward. Breathing out, and you're tucking under. Okay, Last time, gaze forward, really kind of stick the bottom out so you really feel that stretch. It's such a good release. Inner thighs can get quite tight sometimes, so tucking under and then back to center. And then let me think, yeah, and then if we take, so if you've got your right leg outstretched, all you're going to do is just a little kind of stretch across the chest, so the right arm is coming up. So same way, as same direction as the extended leg. Okay, that's it, good. And then coming back to center. And then we're going to do the same to the other side. So the left leg now is going to come out. So you should feel that stretch, you feel good. And then 3 times, I think we did 3 or thereabouts, with your kind of cat-cow movement. So into the spine, really that deep stretch through the inner legs, tucking under, chin towards the chest, tucking the bottom under, as if you're trying to really stretch across the shoulder blades. And then breathing in, gazes forwards. And then tucking under. We'll just do that one last time. So really kind of, and the more you stick the bottom out, that deeper that stretch into the inner thighs. Tucking under. So next time you tuck under, you'll come back to neutral, and then we'll do the same, opening it out to your left side. So left arm opening to your left side. And then coming back to center. That's it, good. So we'll bring that leg in. We're going to tuck the toes and come up into downward facing dog. So instantly you should feel that kind of added stretch up the back of the legs. Again, that same feeling when you lift the bottom, also kind of tilt the bottom backwards, that's it. Then you get that deeper stretch up the back of the legs. So you should feel that into the hamstrings and into the calves. So in terms of the back of the legs, obviously, and then we're stretching through the spine. So you can pedal through the heels if that feels good. I find that kind of really gets deeply into the calves if you feel kind of tightness there. And then we'll just bring the feet to the hands. So you can step, step, or you can spring. We're just going to be kind of hip width apart. So kind of, or slightly wider than hip width. And we're just going to swing. So you can take hold of the inside of the elbows. Let the weight come slightly forward, not too much so you feel like you're going to topple over, but slightly forward into the balls of the feet. And just kind of swing side to side with the upper body. So it should feel nice on your back. I want you to feel like you're really releasing the spine. So letting yourself be heavy. And you should feel that stretch into the back of the legs as well. So this is a good hamstring stretch. So we're doing this every week, aren't we? There's certain movements we're doing every week that pretty much get through the whole body, but the hamstrings are always kind of in there. Just take one last breath. And then we'll just come back to center. We'll just take the hands to the hips and we'll roll up nice and slowly. To standing. Okay, so we're going to come to our sun salutations. Let me just move this back a little. I might move this up a bit, mightn't I? Yeah, okay. So we'll Surya Namaskar A. To the top of the mat. So where's my head in there? Yes, okay. So breathing in, arms are up. Folding forward, so hinging from the hips. So you can really feel that stretch through the back of the legs as you're folding forward, hands to rest, breathing in, half lift. Again, that little kind of tilt through the bottom. So it draws you deeper into the hamstring stretch. Exhale, releasing down, stepping back with the right foot. So we're opening into the hip flexors, coming back to plank. So modified option, knees down, lowering down, so you can take the knees down first or come down whole body through Chaturanga Dandasana into your back bend. And again, it's always a case just listening to your body, how that feels. Okay, tucking the toes, pressing back, downward facing dog. We're going to take 3 breaths in downward facing dog. At any point it feels too much, just take the knees down. Otherwise, just keep the shoulders away from the ears.
So notice if the shoulders are up by the ears, and you just draw those shoulder blades down. The same feeling pressing through the heels, so extending through the heels, wide spread of the fingers. Breathing. And then we're going to take the right leg, so it can come out behind first, through between the hands. So back into your lunge. That's it. Both feet together into Uttanasana. Top of the mat, breathing in, half lift. Exhale, releasing. Breathing the arms up. So you can open back a little if that feels good. Exhale, hands to prayer at the heart center. Okay, same again to the left side. Breathing in, really stretching into the fingertips. Folding forwards, hinging from the hips, so lead with the heart. Heart is the first. Hands to rest, breathing in, lift the heart, the gaze. Exhale, releasing. Stepping back, left foot, so long lunge. Really feel that stretch into the hip flexors. Coming back to plank, strong in plank. Lowering down, so again, you can take the knees down first, or lower whole body, move through into your back bend, so shoulders down. Elbows in if the arms are bent. And just feel that lovely stretch across the lower back. So healthy for your spine to come into extension. It just rarely is, isn't it, in everyday movements. But it's good to get that movement backwards. Tucking the toes, pressing back downward facing dog. Just taking, again, a few breaths here. Let the head and the neck relax. So quite often people kind of keeping their heads held, gazing forwards, but you really want to feel like you're relaxing the head, relaxing the neck, relaxing the jaw. Your gaze is just back towards your toes or towards your ankles. And breathe. So take nice deep breath in. With the exhalation, you can kind of push yourself away from the mat a little. Okay, taking the left leg out behind. Through between the hands. That's it, both feet together to the top of the mat. Breathing in, half lift. Exhale, releasing and breathing the arms up. And then exhale, hands to prayer at the heart center. So we can do the same again, so we'll do another round, Surya Namaskar A. Breathing in, arms up. Exhale, fold. That's it, hands to rest, breathing in, half lift. Exhale, releasing. Right foot steps back. That's it, coming back to plank. Option lowering down, so knees down first or just full body down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Building strength, working through the core. That's it, so just find what feels good. Just taking a breath here before tucking the toes, pressing back, downward facing dog. And just holding here for a few breaths. That's it, good. So if you notice, so as much as, or as well as shoulders bunching up, sometimes the shoulders end up rolling in. So kind of notice if your shoulders are rolling in, and if they are, kind of roll them out. I know it might sound sometimes a bit weird, all these sort of directions in yoga, but it's, you know what I mean, if your shoulders are rolling in, then they're kind of, they're sort of internally rotated. So it's kind of like drawing the shoulders out. It just creates space. And it's kind of your shoulders in the long run. Taking the right leg out behind, so your three-legged dog. Through between the hands. So opening up into the hip flexors, both feet together. Uttanasana. Breathing in, half lift. Exhale, releasing. Breathing the arms up. And then exhale. And support at the heart center. Okay, last time to the left side. Breathing in, opening up the front of the body, folding forwards. Really feel that into the back of the legs, hands to rest. Breathing in, half lift. Exhale, releasing. Left foot steps back. That's it, good. Coming back to plank or modified. Lowering yourselves down. So elbows stay close into the body, just to protect the elbow joints, really. That's it, good. Just taking a breath. And then tucking the toes, pressing back, downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And all those little adjustments. It's really so that your body finds that optimum positioning for you, for your body. Especially when you have a regular practice, you want to make sure that you're practicing kind of properly and getting in the right positions. A nice widespread, press into the base of the fingers a little bit more, or emphasize that connecting point rather than the heel of the hands. And that's just really good for protecting the wrists, really. So if you think how, a regular practice working in the same way on the same parts of the body, while it's healthy, you want to also make sure the body's kind of protected and safe. Taking the left leg, isn't it? Left leg behind, through between the hands. That's it, good. Both feet together, Uttanasana. Breathing in, lift the heart, the gaze. Exhale, releasing, almost there. Breathing the arms up. A little open back, possibly. And then exhale. And spread the heart center. Okay, good. So you should hopefully feel a little warmer. Grab a drink, as always, sister. I can keep that as it is. Do we need a block or anything? No, not really, I don't think. Okay. So we're going to come to, no, I think if you've got, no, you don't necessarily need a block. If you have a block, just pop it there in case. We're going to come into pyramid pose. So you only really need it if you feel like it's a little bit challenging to reach the floor with straight legs for pyramid pose. Otherwise, you don't need it. Let me think. Let's have the 1 foot forward. Doesn't matter which one. 1 foot forward. I can't say mine. It's my left, but it's whichever feels. Yeah. Okay. So Parsvottanasana. You can have the hands to reverse prayer. You can take hold of the inside of the elbows, or you can just clasp the hands behind the back. So you just see what feels comfortable. If you are having a block, then it will just be sort of near the foot, really. Lifting up, so checking in that your hips are level. So you can do that now as opposed to when you're in it. So think level hips. Feet facing in the same direction, back foot is not out, but it's facing forwards. Lifting up and then folding forwards. And again, trying to sort of check in that the hips stay level. If you feel a bit like a balance, make sure your feet aren't directly behind one another, because then it will feel, so slightly apart. And then you'll just come down to parallel at the deepest for the moment. Find that kind of neutral alignment of the neck. So you're not looking up, but you're not tuned to chest. You're sort of somewhere in the middle. Okay, that's it. Good. That's good. That's good. And breathe. If it pulls on the back, just come up a little. So just find what feels comfortable for you. We'll just take another breath or two here. So hopefully you can definitely feel the hamstring stretch here. So it's working strength as well, because we're in a standing pose, so there's always that kind of strength work. We're going to release the hands, so let the hands come down. So this is where, if you wanted to use the block, sometimes if the floor feels far away, you can just rest the hand onto the block, and you've got the sort of lower side option or the taller option, and then you can keep your legs straight, and then you're going to work deeper into that stretch. Okay, so that's it's up to you, whatever's kind of needed here. Again, checking in with those hips, those level hips. The difference is that it just kind of deepens the hamstring stretch, really. We'll just take another breath here. And then we're going to shift the weight into the front foot. So we're going to come into standing splits, Urdhva Prasarita Ekapadasana. So if you're going to come into kind of tripod position with the hands. So that's it, good. And then we're taking off the back leg. And again, just where's available, you might just hover the back foot, you might bring the foot up, only hold for as long as it's comfortable. If it starts to feel too strong or uncomfortable in any way, just come down. So come back to pyramid pose. But if you're okay, then you can feel a lot going on. We are working with strength, we're stretching into the hamstrings, into the hip joint. If you want to bind it to add challenge, then you can bend the extended leg. and then you'll reach the opposite hand round to find it. Okay, that is a kind of an advancing option, so don't feel that you have to do it. Okay, so it'd just be a bound variation of standing splits. Kind of tends to get you a little bit deeper into the stretch. Okay, and if you're binding the pose, you're going to release the foot, extend that leg away, close the hips. So you'll find you're probably out a little bit. Close the hips and find that back foot to the floor. So you're back into pyramid pose. That's it, Parsvottanasana. Let the kind of upper body hang into it. How are we doing? We're good. Okay. And then all we're going to do to add, again, a slightly deeper stretch, the possibility to draw back onto the heel of the front foot, lifting the toes. So you don't have to, you can hang as you are, or you just draw back a little. So you're lifting the toes of the front foot. You'll feel that that's a little deeper into the stretch. If it's too much, don't do it. We'll just take one more breath, and then we'll place that foot down. We'll attempt to get out of this position. They might be stuck. Take the hands to the hips and then come up nice and slowly. Oh, you can feel that. We're definitely letting go of some stuff. Okay, we're going to do the same to the other side. Yeah, that's quite intense, isn't it? Okay, same to the other side. So you've got to restore balance. So whichever foot you didn't do, have that in front. So exactly the same. Parsvottanasana first of all. So it's really just to open the heart. So either hands to prayer, hold the elbows, or clasp the hands. Either way it opens the body. So level hips, feet facing the same direction. Lift up a little, just so you're not rounding into the low back, and then folding forwards. That's it. So you'll find the shoulders and the hips level. So up a little if it's too strong on the back, or down to about parallel if it feels okay. And you'll feel the deeper you go into it, the more you find that stretch. Okay. We want to be mindful not to get Zoom neck, that constant looking to the screen. I don't want you to leave with like neck ache. Okay, okay, that's it, good. So breathing. Which leg am I doing? That one, isn't it? Okay, we'll take one more breath here. And then we're going to release the hands. So release the hands down to the mat or the block. So if you did use the block before, then bring that block back. Closing that back hip so they're level. Sit good. And just breathing into it. So really breathing into that tension, that tightness, that holding into the back of the legs. Okay, it just creates a little space and hopefully a little ease in the body as well. We're going to move this into standing splits. So exactly the same. So shift the weight into the front foot. Move those hands forward. So you've got that 3-point contact coming into it. Back leg extends up just to where it's available. You will find that you're going to, not too much, but you will find that you'll open the hips a little. It's quite hard to keep the hips completely level and lift the leg. It will get a bit stuck. So you can kind of open up a little deeper if you want to. If you did find the pose, so obviously you're coming a little bit more of a balance and you're bending that extended leg, reaching the opposite hand round. And then if you can go a little closer to the leg, so you might find you get a bit more weight into it, the option is there. So it should still feel good. It shouldn't feel painful. It should feel like there's just never-ending place to go with these hamstring stretches. Like there's just so much needs releasing. Okay, we'll just take another breath. And then if you're binding the pose, you want to release the hand, extend that leg out. So if your leg is still extended, now close the hips. It's just you'll feel that you're open to the side. Close the hips, it's kind of to the back as well. Take that back leg down. So you're back into your pyramid pose. You can still feel that really nice stretch into the hamstrings. If you want to go a little deeper with that, then just draw back onto the heel and lift the toes. If not, just kind of hang in there, literally, and breathe. Okay. And then we'll lower the toes if you've lifted them. That's it. Take the hands to the hips and we'll come slowly up to standing. Okay, good. Welcome back. There we go. Okay, so we're going to come into Prasarita Padottanasana. So there's actually the different variations I do. Actually, I'll have different, the official kind of variations. So we're going to do Prasarita Padottanasana D. So we've done it before. It's just that I'm thinking I should probably actually give you the, tell you the variations when we're doing them. So all we're going to do is have hands to the hips, and we're going to fold forwards. And for Prasarita Padottanasana D, you're taking hold possibly of the big toes. So your yogi toe lock, first two fingers around the big toe. So if you can reach, obviously you can't make yourself do it. The alternative is just to take hold of wherever you can reach on the low leg. So remember your feet are wide here, so that gives you the best option to go deeper into it, the wider your legs are. Again, just where it's comfortable to hold. So whether you're holding the toes or whether you're holding around the low legs, the feeling is to draw yourself kind of straighter through the spine. So it's almost like you're drawing yourself closer to the legs, and in so doing, straightening the spine. Okay? Because there's naturally a kind of a rounding, isn't there, of the back when you come into these forward folds. But you want to think about going a little deeper, drawing yourself so the elbows will tend to come out to the side. So either way, holding the low legs or holding the toes. Let your face, your jaw relax here, use the opportunity. Breathing. Okay. Just taking one more breath. And then kind of releasing the effort. So you're kind of hanging. So you're just going to, you could still, you can keep the hands where they are. We're just going to wiggle the hips. Okay, so just kind of taking the hips to the right side. You'll feel that stretch kind of a little bit similar to how we were doing in the cat-cow at the beginning. So you move the hips to one side. It's a small movement, back to center, over to the other side. So much going on, isn't there? Back of the legs, inside of the legs, back to center, coming back. So over to your right side, coming back to center and over to the left. Okay, coming back to center. And then you can release the hands. What we'll do is, if you just have the hands or the fingertips to the floor, heel toe the feet in a little, and we're going to come straight down into a squat from here. And that should feel amazing. Releasing those hamstrings. Oh, you see, you need the two, don't you? You need that really beautiful stretch, but you need that release afterwards to kind of show you how good it feels. Okay, so we just holding this, so elbows into the inside of the legs, possibly Mula Bandha, so draw up around your perineal area. That's it. So your root lock. Okay, and then we're going to come down to sitting, and we're going to come into Paschimottanasana. So legs extended straight out. You can face forwards, you can come onto the, or face the side. I'm just going to bring this a little closer. Okay. This will be our last kind of focused hamstring stretch, because I know, so there's quite a lot of stretching going on. So flesh from the sit bones, so both out together. It's a different feeling to Janu Shirshasana because you're working into both at the same time. So it's not, it's a different kind of feeling, but you can choose where you go with it. If you feel like that's enough now, we've had a good stretch, bend the knees a little. You're still stretching, but a little less. Okay, so see how you feel. So we'll breathe the arms up, we'll fold forwards. You might now just actually feel really open. or it might be like, maybe that's too much. So bend the knees if it feels a little too much. Also on the back, isn't it? If it feels too strong on the back, bend the knees. So see how you feel. You can kind of yin yourself into it, so you can let the back round if you prefer, chin towards the chest, so you don't have to worry about stretching, straightening the spine. You can let yourself hang into it a little more. So intense stretch of the waist, back of the body. That's it, good. So just breathing across the upper back. I'm sure you're aware of kind of how resistant the hamstrings are, isn't it? You can really focus on them, but there's so much there, and that's the kind of awareness that you get when you're focusing on this part of the body, how much is kind of stored there. Okay, and then we'll just walk ourselves up. Okay, good. And then again, give you a choice. Well, actually, we'll all do this first of all. So if you just take the hands behind, and this should feel really nice. You're just going to really open up across the chest. Feel like you're really kind of lifting up and out of the waist. Press into the hands, and just feel that nice back bend. And you're just going, so the gaze can stay forward if the neck feels too much, or you can take the gaze up. Just really push into the hands to really make the most of that stretch, that release. Okay. And then come back. It feels so good in comparison with the forward fold. And we'll do the same again, or you can lift the bottom off. So completely your choice. If you want to, so if you're lifting the bottom off, then it's Purvottanasana, so it's your incline kind of plank. Or intense stretch of the east, so being the front of the body. So maybe lifting the bottom, maybe staying here. Okay, it just adds a bit of strength if you lift the bottom off. Okay, we'll just take another breath or two. Very good. Push, push, push. And then coming down. Oh, okay. You might want to bring the legs in for a moment, give them a bit of a hug, so around the back, around the legs. We are going to come down. So if you want extra layers, then grab your extra layers and then come down. Let me see if we have time. We'll come into just sort of one, not a hamstring stretch, just to release everything really. So if you come down to laying, all we're going to do is bend up the knees and have the right ankle resting onto the left, sort of near the knee, not on the knee, but just onto the thigh, sort of nearest to the knee. So eye of the needle, or Supta Kapottasana. Because I hadn't actually known the Sanskrit of this, I hadn't really thought about it. It was Supta Kapottasana, which is reclining pigeon. And then you either keep the leg as it is, or you move the left knee towards you for a deeper stretch. So it's more kind of releasing rather than deep stretching now. So you should just feel that through around the outer hip in particular, or you might feel it somewhere else. You can reach between that gap. So if your right foot is resting onto the left leg, your right hand possibly can come through the gap between the legs, hold the back of the thigh or the shin. Okay. Head is connected to the mat, so no head off, otherwise it's too much effort onto the neck. I'm just going to take a couple of breaths here. So again, this should feel like a good kind of releasing stretch. Sometimes hamstring stretches, they are releasing, obviously. That's what we're doing when we stretch, but they can feel quite tight and quite resistant. So hopefully now you feel like you're releasing, relaxing the legs a little. So reclining pigeon, Supta Kapottasana. Okay. And then we'll just release the legs. We'll do the same to the other side. So left ankle resting, so just above the knee on the right leg. It's perfectly fine to keep it as is. So right foot to the floor, or you can draw the right knee towards the chest and then Either just that, or you can reach through, hold the back of the thigh or around the shin. Okay. Any discomfort in the knee, then just keep that foot flexed, the left foot flexed. And just let yourself relax into it. So again, quite yin in nature. Once we found the pose, there's no effort, is there? We're just holding the shape, and the body just within this shape is releasing. Nice and grounded now, back down to the earth. Okay, and then just releasing the legs. That's it, good. And then just find your comfortable position for Shavasana. Yeah, we'll come straight into Shavasana. We did just in the beginning. Let's have the arms out to the sides, possibly. Just let the legs extend or keep a bend through the knees. Maybe you're aware of a little kind of energy through the low legs. There's a lot of focus through the lower half of the body, so you might feel some kind of tingling or sensations through the lower half of the body. If you do, obviously this is just the energy moving around. We're really just, in our practice generally, just guiding the energy around to help to clear any blockages. When you release blockages, you're releasing stagnation, stuck areas, getting unstuck and just creating ease. So that's what we're doing every time we're stretching, really. So just allow yourself to completely relax now. Just a scan of the body, an awareness if there's any area that you feel that you're holding on to, even in Shavasana. So shoulders can come away from the ears. If you feel kind of around the low back, you can just maybe tuck the bottom under a little. Just feel heavy through the legs or released, relaxed through the legs. Feet are relaxed. Extra awareness around the back of the thighs, so obviously a lot of focus there. Really soften the thighs, back of the thighs, front of the thighs. Knees relax. So hips, pelvis, a lot of holding around here. Hips, pelvis, bottom. Feel that connection, back of the body. Belly is soft. A release across the chest, across the heart center. Relaxed across the upper back and the shoulders, the arms. Back of the head is heavy, supported. The chin, the jaw, the cheeks. The whole body just kind of giving into gravity. Just using this time to carve out a little space, a little time for you, quietening the mind, slowing down the breath, and just being hopefully a little bit more aware of a kind of present moment. So whether you're connected with the ebb and flow of the breath, or whether you're just connected to how the body feels, softening the body, keeping that awareness in each moment as it arises. When we're thinking about, what are we holding on to in our bodies? That physical holding does come from somewhere emotional. Something emotional that's manifested physically. So it's really a case of thinking about
What can we let go of? When we let go of something, we create space for something new. Just worth bearing that in mind if we're holding on to something, an emotion, an experience, a situation that's not good. It's not good for us to keep in our bodies, in our minds, and we let that go, and we're inviting in, we're creating space, and we're inviting in something new, something better. So I'm just going to read you a poem called I Surrender, which kind of felt connected with this idea of letting go. I'm learning to live between effort and surrender. I do my best and I hope for what I want, but I do not resist the direction of the wind. Through surrender, I move from outer turmoil to inner peace. By letting go of expectations and outcomes, I transform a painful experience into a positive, fruitful endeavor. When fear gets the best of me, I surrender to love. When I release my resistance to love's presence, I am able to receive what I need, what's trying to come into my life for my highest good. And that's exactly what it is, letting go, making space, and just opening yourself up to really inviting in something better, something that wants to come in for your highest good. So just feel yourself in Shavasana, letting go, creating space, finding that ease, that deeper sense of well-being just by being in the moment, by not associating with past, but just each moment as it arises. So just be aware of the breath as it's flowing in, and the breath as it's flowing out. The easiest way to really anchor yourselves into the present moment. Feel the breath as it flows in. Where is it flowing into? Where are you feeling the breath enter your body? With the out breath, always that invitation to let go and release. And just doing that again, awareness of the breath flowing in, maybe the sound even, or the temperature of the air as it flows into the body through the nose. And that release as it flows out. And then just starting to very gently reconnect with the body. So maybe fingers, toes. Whatever's easiest to move, really, once you've been in relaxation. It might be the head, the neck, it might be fingers, toes. You might get a little deeper into the wrists, into the ankles. And then just layering on, really. So you can draw the knees to the chest if that feels good, or just take a big stretch, or give yourselves a hug. Ease out through the neck or the spine, so whatever feels good, however it feels good to move. And we're just kind of slowly returning to a comfortable seat. So hopefully you feel a little lighter. I hope that you feel that way after every class. I know I definitely do on a mind-body level, isn't it? Sometimes you come into class with all this stuff on your mind and then, think about it for an hour. And it kind of works on both those levels, isn't it? You feel a little lighter in your body, like everything's kind of moved a little bit. For that hour, you've just thought about not falling over, that sort of thing. And it really it is that space that you're carving out for yourself. So we're just going to close with our 3 Oms. So just having your hands as you wish, as you're comfortable to have them. And we'll just take a deep breath in first of all, and then exhaling. And then deep breath in. And the same again, deep breath in. And last time, deep breath in. Okay, we just bring our thumbs to the brow center, open mind, and then to the heart center, open heart. So thank you very much for joining me. Namaste. Thank you.